Thank you, colleagues. We now move to voting. And may I remind members that they must vote once only and must only use their yes button in the voting app when voting. Once the voting for candidates is completed, members who have not voted for a candidate will then be given the opportunity to vote to abstain by pressing their yes button. And I will announce the result once all votes have been cast and verified. Thank you. In this round of voting, in the selection of the Parliament's nominee as First Minister, the number of votes cast for each candidate is as follows. Alex Cole-Hamilton, 4. Douglas Ross, 31. Anna Sarwar, 22. John Swinney, 64. There were 7 abstentions. As there is an overall majority for John Swinney, on behalf of the Parliament, I congratulate Mr Swinney as the Parliament's nominee for the position of First Minister and look forward to working with him. And I will call each of the party leaders to respond. Thank you, and I now call John Swinney.
Presiding Officer, I am very grateful to Douglas Ross, Anna Sarwar, Lorna Slater and Alex Cole-Hamilton for their kind comments this afternoon, and especially their comments in relation to the support of my family. Presiding Officer, when I stood down as Deputy First Minister in March last year, I believed that would be the last senior office I would hold in politics. Having served then as a senior minister for 16 years, I felt I had, to coin a phrase, done my bit. To find myself accepting office as First Minister of Scotland today is therefore, to utter a classic understatement, something of a surprise. It is, however, an extraordinary privilege, and it is my honour to accept the office of First Minister, committing myself to do the best I can for Scotland. As I navigated my way through the media pack in the corridors of this Parliament last week, prior to announcing my candidacy for the SNP leadership, I tried to explain that I was taking my time to decide whether to stand, because I had to be certain it was a decision that was right for my family. For me, my answers to the media were not a stalling tactic or an evasive answer from an experienced politician. For me, it was the truth. Members will know that my wife Elizabeth has multiple sclerosis. She is indefatigable in trying to make sure that MS does not get in the way of her living life to the full. But much to her frustration, she does often have to rely on her husband for support and assistance. I could not just commit myself to become First Minister without being able to properly work out with my family how we would be able to manage as a family. We've talked that through, and we will manage. But I cannot let this moment pass without making clear to Elizabeth my profound eternal gratitude for the sacrifices she is prepared to make to enable her husband to serve our country as First Minister. I am so pleased that my father, my wife and children, members of my family and our dearest friends are able to be here today to see this moment. My only regret is that my beloved mother did not live long enough to see this day. As her parish minister wrote to me yesterday, your mum would have been quietly proud. My mother's love of literature and poetry, which rubbed off on her 2 sons, would have prompted her to find some words that would sum up this moment. Yesterday I was asked what would be the single most important policy objective for my government. I made it clear it would be the eradication of child poverty. So in searching for words to sum up this occasion, perhaps my mother would have chosen these words from one of Scotland's greatest poets, Hamish Henderson, who was born in Blairgowrie, in the very beating heart of my Perthshire North constituency. In his epic anthem, Freedom Come All Ye, which I heard Hamish Henderson sing from an open-top bus in the meadows of our great capital city during a rally that demanded the establishment of this very Parliament in the early 1990s, Hamish Henderson wrote, So come all ye at hame with freedom. Never heed what the hoodies croak for doom. In your house all the bairns of Adam can find breed, barley brie and painted room. If there was ever an anthem that railed against child poverty, those words from Hamish Henderson echo through the straths and streets of our diverse country as a call for us to act. So I will be unapologetic about bringing to this Parliament the measures we can take to eradicate child poverty, and I look forward to seeking the support of others to achieve that aim. Because I recognise that's how it's going to have to work. I am leading a minority government. I will need to reach out to others to make things happen, to pass legislation, to agree a budget. To pass legislation, to agree a budget. These sound like dry, technical parliamentary terms. But what they mean in reality is if we want to fund our schools and hospitals, if we want to give our businesses a competitive edge, if we want to take climate action, if we want to eradicate child poverty, if we want to change people's lives for the better, we have got to work together to do so. This Parliament, as colleagues have fairly recognised, is intensely polarised at this time. I accept my part in creating that environment, whether that is by shouted put-downs from the front bench or heckling from a sedentary position. I do promise, Presiding Officer, that that will all stop. I have changed. Perhaps time will tell on that one. This is not the collaborative place it has been in the past. A collaborative place that has done so much good to improve the lives of people in Scotland. As the Parliament marks its 25-year anniversary, and as one of the relatively small group who have been here from the start, I reflect on the major developments that have taken place by collaborative work and agreement over that time. Major developments taken forward by the Labour and Liberal executive, such as the ban on smoking in public places, or minimum unit pricing by the SNP government, or the introduction of free bus travel for under-22s by the SNP Green Partnership. I commit my government to working to create that agreement across the chamber. I hope there is space and the willingness for that to happen in the interests of the people who sent us here. Now, it is hardly a surprise to anyone in this chamber that I believe that this country could do more if we had the powers of a normal, independent nation. Others in this chamber take the opposite view. That is the essence of democracy. People free to hold and express and pursue different opinions. The question we face in this Parliament today, however, is a more practical one. Does our disagreement on the Constitution prevent us from working collaboratively within the existing powers of the Parliament to eradicate child poverty, build the economy, support jobs, address the cost of living crisis, improve the health service and tackle the climate crisis? I will give all of my energy and my willingness to engage and listen to ensure that that is not the case. I invite others to do the same. Presiding Officer, when I pitched up at Forrester High School in this city in 1979, at the age of 15 wearing my SNP badge, and my friends and teachers wondered why I had become involved in this fringe party, I could scarcely have imagined that my journey would involve becoming the First Minister of Scotland. It is an extraordinary privilege to hold this office, and I thank Parliament warmly for the honour that has been given to me. To the people of Scotland, I would say simply this: I offer myself to be the First Minister for everyone in Scotland. I am here to serve you. I will give everything I have to build the best future for our country.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes the selection of First Minister, and it's now time to move on to the next item of business.